Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. We are diving into a really fascinating 2026 qualitative study looking at 27 Turkish Gen Zers. We're talking about young adults, mostly students, who are actively navigating modern digital fatigue. And honestly, what the researchers found is absolutely redefining how we understand the future of the internet. We are looking at a profound paradigm shift today, especially when it comes to AI, marketing, and the rapidly changing landscape of social media in 2026.
Take a quick second and really think about your own screen time today. How much of it was spent just scrolling through social media? Now ask yourself this: how much of that content did you actually trust? We're seeing a massive, honestly counterintuitive shift right now. The generation that grew up entirely online, the exact generation that social media marketers target relentlessly, is actively stepping away from their feeds. But here's the thing: they aren't logging off entirely. They're just moving somewhere else.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap of the interconnected behaviors driving this shift. 1. The social media distrust. 2. Embracing digital minimalism. 3. Seeking financial discipline. 4. The turn to AI. And 5. A new digital ecosystem.
Section 1. The social media distrust. To really understand why Gen Z is pulling back, we have to look at the sheer volume of their baseline digital engagement. A massive 63% of participants log 4 to 6 hours of daily screen time. I mean, for a generation defined by being constantly connected, that's practically a part-time job just doom scrolling. But spending a quarter of your entire day online leads to severe cognitive overload. They are constantly bombarded by micro-targeted marketing, hyper-curated aesthetics, and just an endless, exhausting stream of notifications.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the fallout from all that screen time. Just 11.1% of these Gen Z participants say they have high trust in social media information. That is shockingly low. Despite spending up to 6 hours a day on these platforms, almost 90% are approaching their feeds with partial or complete skepticism. This quote from an 18-year-old participant, K25, really humanizes the data for us. They said, "It's hard to get accurate information because people spread misinformation for engagement." They see right through the mechanics of the platforms, you know? They know that algorithms reward sensationalism and manipulative marketing way more than truth. The very architecture that was designed to keep them engaged is exactly the thing driving them away.
Section 2. Embracing digital minimalism.
So how do you actually fight back against a system that is literally engineered to steal your attention? Well, nearly 60% of the participants in this study, actually 59.3% to be exact, are actively adopting digital minimalism practices. They aren't just complaining about digital fatigue anymore. They are taking concrete, real-world steps to reclaim their time and attention from the algorithms.
What does this look like in practice? It's intentional, value-driven technology use. We're talking about pruning non-essential apps, silencing notifications, and scheduling strict device-free periods. Think of it as a modern dopamine detox. It's a coping mechanism for sure, but more than that, it's a silent protest against dopamine-driven marketing algorithms. It's putting the user right back in the driver's seat.
And the emotional payoff here is immense. Participant K26, a 24-year-old, noted, "I felt very relaxed mentally. I consciously distanced myself from social media." This isn't just about, saving a few hours a week. It's about real, tangible mental relief. This intentional disengagement is what allows them to clear out the noise and actually breathe.
Moving on to Section 3, Seeking Financial Discipline.
It turns out digital anxiety bleeds directly into economic behavior. This generation is facing intense economic precarity, all while swimming in a sea of influencer-driven spending pressures. They're highly aware of financial risks, yet they really struggle to track their budgets. Why? Well, it's due to the perceived complexity of financial tools, a lack of time to maintain those records, or simply feeling like they just don't have enough disposable income to even bother in the first place.
So, the crucial point is this huge gap in execution. While they desperately want financial stability, 63% do not use a systematic budgeting tool. Only 37% actually do. And let's be real, those impulse buys pushed by incredibly smart social media marketing are super hard to resist when you don't have a clear system guarding your wallet.
Section 4. The turn to AI.
Okay, here is where the major twist happens. The very generation stepping away from algorithm-driven feeds is actually running headfirst toward artificial intelligence. We know high trust in social media sits at that dismal 11.1%. But trust in AI-generated recommendations? That sits at a staggering 70.4%.
AI just isn't facing the same skepticism that social media is.
To understand exactly why, listen to this 20-year-old participant, K7. They said, "I trust it because it can access most of the universal knowledge that is available within seconds." For Gen Z, trust in AI is incredibly pragmatic. It is definitely not blind faith. It's entirely based on speed, accessibility, and just sheer informational capacity. When we break down exactly why Gen Z turns to AI, it makes perfect sense. They value its perceived impartiality. They like the data-driven rationale. They heavily rely on its ability to synthesize massive volumes of information instantly. And perhaps most importantly, AI offers relief from the emotionally charged, heavily marketed narratives of social media. When they want to make a decision, say about personal finance or a big purchase, they'd much rather ask an AI than trust an influencer's sponsored post. For them, AI acts as a much-needed stabilizing mechanism.
Section 5. A new digital ecosystem. Let's move to and see how this builds a completely new digital reality. The researchers built a qualitative model that brilliantly maps all of this out. High screen time triggers digital minimalism as a way to reclaim attention. Economic stress and cognitive overload trigger the need for financial discipline and budgeting apps. And ultimately, that social media distrust triggers this brand new, pragmatic reliance on AI. Minimalism, financial tracking, and AI trust aren't just random trends. They are now one cohesive survival strategy in an incredibly noisy digital world.
And this brings us to the absolute core takeaway of this entire explainer. AI isn't replacing social media for entertainment or fun. It is replacing social media as a trusted resource. Gen Z is straight up bypassing the marketers, bypassing the algorithms, and ignoring the feeds to go directly to the source of synthesized information.
Which leaves us with a really fascinating question to ponder. As marketing and misinformation continue to clog up traditional social media, and as AI becomes more seamlessly integrated into our daily lives, are you ready to replace your social feeds with AI assistants? Think about how you'll search for your next product or even get your news tomorrow morning. The shift is already happening right in front of us. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I will catch you next time.